407, which took off on July 15, 1999, was en route from New York to London on a routine flight. James Harper was in his third year as a first officer, working with the experienced Captain Bryce Carter. The sky was clear, and the passengers were calm. After about 4 hours, while the plane was flying over the Atlantic Ocean, James noticed a strange flash on the radar. At exactly 2:13 a.m., a massive portal suddenly appeared in the sky in front of them, with a dark purple color resembling rotten blood, surrounded by dense black clouds that looked like living smoke. It wasn't stationary. It pulsed, as if it were a living heart. The instruments malfunctioned, the compass spun wildly, and time seemed to stop. The plane was being pulled toward it uncontrollably, despite Captain Bryce's efforts to escape. The sound in the headphones disappeared. Even the engine noise turned into muffled whispers. Once they passed through the portal, everything changed. The sky was no longer blue but blood red, as if it were made of fire, filled with muffled screams. Instead of the earth, there was a city floating in the air, built of bones. The walls pulsed, and the sky rained living ash that moved like insects. The passengers began to lose control. Screams, tears, and collective seizures. A woman jumped out of her seat, thinking she saw her deceased mother. A man began banging his head against the wall, shouting that he was still dreaming and hadn't woken up yet. Creatures began to appear around the plane, formless at first, sometimes appearing as children, then transforming into massive faceless bodies, only to turn into smoke that passed through the seats. Every 5 minutes, one passenger disappeared. No trace, no blood, just total disappearance. At first, the crew thought it was hallucinations, but after the stewardess, Marlene, vanished before their eyes, they realized that the creatures were consuming them one by one. Captain Bryce began speaking in unknown languages, then tried to open the emergency door, laughing, saying, "It wants me. I see it now. It has forgiven me." Moments later, his face completely dissolved, and he collapsed. James resisted. He kept hitting his head to wake himself up, cutting his arm repeatedly to feel real pain, so he wouldn't be deceived by the hallucinations. He kept mumbling his mother's name, desperately trying to hold on to anything real. In a moment of terrifying calm, the plane stopped moving, as if suspended. In front of James appeared only one thing: a massive eye in the sky, hundreds of meters in diameter, staring directly into his soul. He heard an inner voice saying, "The one who remains is the chosen one. You will return and carry my message." On a rainy night in the winter of 2020, a deserted military base in Nevada received a strange signal from a plane that disappeared over 20 years ago. Flight 407 from American Airlines, which took off in the summer of 1999 and vanished without a trace over the Atlantic, returned suddenly, alone, covered in a thick layer of ice, and slowly descended on an abandoned runway with no sound coming from within. When the security teams boarded the plane, the surprise was beyond human comprehension. All the passengers, numbering 127, had turned into skeletons, sitting in their seats as if they had died peacefully during the flight. But the tragedy wasn't in the number of the dead. It was that the plane wasn't completely empty. There was one survivor, the first officer, James Harper, who emerged from the cockpit dazed, covered in blood, with half of him seemingly aged for centuries in hell. James was detained in a secret facility. Psychological and physical tests were performed on him. The results were impossible. His cells had aged. His brain emitted waves not found in humans. A strange DNA strand appeared, not matching any known organism. He began speaking in his sleep, in a language never heard before. The guards started seeing nightmares. Some committed suicide. Others lost consciousness forever. Then, James disappeared from his locked room. After his disappearance, portals began appearing in various locations around the world. Cases of disappearances, creatures appearing for moments only to vanish, a sky raining ash, and children being born with extra eyes. The world began to change, and not for the better. The last message captured from James was, "The portal is hungry, and now it won't close." A whole city disappeared into a violet flash, and in the shadows a being watches, feeds, and waits for its full birth. Flight 407 was only the beginning. What's coming is not from this world. We kindly ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive all new updates, and your support would be greatly appreciated.